Today, I'm going to speak to you about a book that everyone who is an educated citizen of India should have read it, but we haven't. Don't be worried, it's nothing to be ashamed of. We all make mistakes. Even I didn't know about it until an incident occurred that changed me. You can change too. Justice Abhijit Gangopadhyay of the Kolkata High Court was honored as a chief guest at an occasion which I was present at. And there he gave a speech in which he described an occurrence that profoundly affected me. During his young years as a lawyer, when he was traveling by train to a destination, he got acquainted with two well-dressed, educated gentlemen sitting adjacent to him and struck a conversation with them. During his input into the conversation, he mentioned the word constitution, and immediately one of them asked him, "Say, what is the constitution anyway?" Hearing this, the other gentleman also chimed in and asked, "Yes, what is it? We keep hearing about it. You're a lawyer, so you should know about it." He was shell-shocked. The Constitution of India is not a mere lawyer's document. It is the document that governs our lives, and so we, as in every citizen of India, should know it. We are all educated people here. What is education? Is it just preparing someone for a job? It is also preparing someone for life and inevitably the country. Our country is very prepared for us with all the constitution, the laws, the codes and everything to protect us and ensure a good life for us. But are we really prepared for the country? For responsibly living in the country as educated people? Do we know what we should do and what we shouldn't as Indians living in India? For if you commit an unlawful act without being aware that it was a crime, the law will not let you off just because you didn't know it was unlawful. They will punish you for it. I have heard of cases that had occurred. My father is a lawyer, so I have heard from him of cases that had occurred because the person didn't know it was a crime. It would have been avoided had the person would known that it was a crime, it was unlawful, but they didn't. They would say that I didn't know it was a crime, but nothing can be done about it now. The law will not hear such excuses because we as citizens of the country have a duty and obligation to know what is lawful and what isn't in the country. And we can only avoid such cases from happening when we know what is allowed in the country and what isn't. And how will we do it? We cannot just read every act or every law that has been passed since it's the making of the country unless you are a law student. It is the Constitution of India that has summarized in its entirety for its people what they should do and what they shouldn't as citizens of the country. And if you just know your Constitution, just the Constitution, and live according to it, your lives will become easier. As laws are made in accordance with the Constitution. So you just know it, you will know almost everything that you should do and you shouldn't. And the Constitution of India is not an unreadable document. You don't even have to know the whole thing. You can just read if you do not want to, but there are benefits of knowing the whole thing, but if you do not want to, it's fine. You can just read the preamble, the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties, the directive principles, and other parts that you think will be pertinent. Okay, just close your eyes and imagine that all these freedom and privileges that we are experiencing, we are enjoying, isn't there now. What lies in its place is a place where we cannot choose whom we want to govern us, or we are being deprived of our basic needs, of our basic rights like free a good education, like electricity, or freedom to choose what you want to do or sow in your own land, just like our ancestors suffered under the British Raj. Someone has conquered us again, and we are being deprived of our basic rights, and discrimination runs rampant, and nobody cares about it. How did you feel? Terrified, right? You should, because this is what the makers of our Constitution had feared would happen should we not achieve social democracy. A political democracy that ensures our good lives to us will not last. And we still haven't achieved social democracy, so you should be terrified. On November 25, 1949, One day before the constitution was finalized and India's dream of becoming a republic solidified, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar gave a speech in which he said, "Political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it a social democracy." What does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity as the principles of life. And we can only do this when we know what kind of liberty, what kind of equality or fraternity we have been ensured as Indians. And we will only know this when we read the Constitution. And when we read the Constitution, we can easily accept them and make them as principles of our life. Knowing the Constitution will also help you in casting the right vote, because we are all eligible voters over here, right? And okay, this person is not an eligible voter, okay. Fine, you will be, but you will be, I know. So, like when we become voters that know our Constitution, we will also know what the government should be doing, and is the government actually doing it? Are they doing what they are doing lawfully and ethically? What they are doing is right or wrong? And when we know the answers to these questions, we can easily cast the right vote and we can choose the right representatives for ourselves. And therefore, we will also ensure the non-occurrence of the vision that you had just seen, as then political democracy will be a lasting one. Political democracy falls when citizens are ignorant. Don't be ignorant, be informed. According to the preamble, justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity, if ensured, will make India a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. But is India actually so? No. Why? Because we are never ensured these rights. And why does this happen? Because we don't even know what they are. We will only know when we read our Constitution, and when we do, we will also just not become more law-abiding citizens, because then we will know our rights, and we will also know that we cannot violate the others as well. We will also know the correct legal procedures of doing certain simple things, the lack of knowledge of which makes us run to lawyers and places, and thereby increasing our plight and decreasing our faith in the system. When we start believing that because for such simple things we had to toil so much, asking for justice will be much more difficult. It is not. Read the Constitution, you will know it is not that difficult. Knowing the Constitution will also help you in casting the right vote, and thereby helping you choose the right representative for the people, and making the country a truly sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. When you go home, tell them of us and say, "For your tomorrow, we gave our today." We have been ensured these rights and privileges, free air to breathe, a republic to live in, at the cost of many lives. Our brave freedom fighters laid down their lives for us to secure a free India for us. Our history has always been painted in blood. Nothing came to us easy. But now that we have the rights and privileges, we can ask for it. Every time you ask for your rights, you perform your duties or cast an informed vote, you keep the spirits alive. The spirit of a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic that they so wanted to see, but they couldn't because of their death. You keep that spirit alive. Even now that we are free, we do not get this freedom without paying the price. It is just that someone else pays the bill for us. We sleep, eat, and live peacefully because of the soldiers that constantly guard our borders. They make countless sacrifices without ever asking for anything in return. Don't you think it is our duty to ensure a better country for their families? This is the least we can do. Be a citizen worth fighting for. They are fighting for us. Let's be a citizen worth fighting for. So next time when an Indian comes up to you and asks you for advice, for a book to read, give them the Constitution of India and say, first be a citizen, then be a literary.